Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. Boy, did I receive a strong response from our community to the previous report about the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo saying, I quote, that there'll be a second Trump administration. Now, what I find interesting is when Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was specifically asked, are there any instances of voter fraud and, do you have actual examples? Do you have actual evidence? My interpretation was he essentially said, look, all legal votes have to be counted, all illegal votes don't have to be counted, which, by the way, is something everyone can agree on. But the question is there evidence? Is there proof? Remember, if there is evidence and if there's proof, then by all means, you'll see it reported here on this channel. But for these kinds of strong allegations to be made, and here's the important thing, and for Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to say there will be a second Trump administration, I'm paraphrasing, was just unbelievable. My team and I were actually able to locate the clip of the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo talking about the irregularities in the voting, talking about the fact that, he had his misgivings about the process. And I want you to see the segment for yourself, and I want you to be the judge for yourself. Let's roll the tape and see the United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who's one of the biggest supporters of the president, who has the confidence of the president. Let's roll the tape and see exactly what he had to say and how he supported the president. Let's watch.
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration. All right, we're ready. The world is watching what's taking place here. We're going to count all the votes. When the process is complete, there'll be electors selected. There's a process. The Constitution lays it out pretty clearly. The world should have every confidence that the transition necessary to make sure that the State Department is functional today, successful today, and successful with the president who's in office on January 20th, a mid-afternoon, will also be successful. I went through a transition on the front, and I've been on the other side of this. I'm very confident that we will do all the things that are necessary to make sure that the government, the United States government, will continue to perform its national security function as we go forward.
So you believe there's widespread voter fraud, that the reports that we're getting from Pennsylvania, from Michigan, showing vote totals in massive leads or significant leads with 99% reporting are going to be overturned, and that the United States failed to conduct a fraudulent free election?
Rich, I'm the Secretary of State. I'm getting calls from all across the world. These people are watching our election. They understand that we have a legal process. They understand that this takes time. Right, it took us 37 plus days in an election back in 2000. We conducted a successful transition then. I'm very confident that we will count, and we must count every legal vote. We must make sure that any vote that wasn't lawful ought not be counted. That dilutes your vote if it's done improperly. We've got to get that right. When we get it right, we'll get it right. We're in good shape.
I actually thought that was incredible. I don't know about you. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of the comments of the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo about a second Trump administration. He didn't even dance around it. He just said that that's what was going to be. In fact, let's see that one more time so you understand exactly what I'm talking about. Let's roll the tape and watch that first sentence one more time.
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration.
So now the question arises, what does President-elect Joe Biden think about this? He actually spoke today, provided some extensive remarks on the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare. He provided some extensive comments about trying to protect the healthcare, trying to make sure that healthcare was available to our residents, to our citizens. And here's what President-elect Joe Biden said about the comments from the president, about the fact that there was no concession, about the fact that there was no cooperation as far as the transition was concerned. And also, he was asked to address comments from the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. And I think the reaction from President-elect Joe Biden says it all. Now, before I show you the response from Joe Biden, I want it to be known that because of what happened in 2000, Bush v. Gore, because of the fact that essentially the transition for President Bush was delayed because of the whole Bush v. Gore controversy, because of the Supreme Court getting involved, there was some speculation at the time that did not allow the security apparatus of President Bush's team to get fully implemented. And we know what happened in 2001. Now, here's the concern. If this whole thing drags out and if there's no evidence, okay? Let's just follow me here. If this whole thing drags out and if there's no evidence okay, if there's no evidence, then this has security implications for the United States of America. This has stimulus implications for the United States of America, because that would mean the new team, the President-elect Joe Biden's team, would not be able to sufficiently ramp up their security apparatus, would not be able to install their own team in key departments, which is their right. Which is their right once they're sworn in, once the results are certified. But this has real implications, because the president-elect is supposed to get daily briefings, is supposed to get cooperation, is supposed to get federal funding in order to be able to help with the transition team. So I want my viewers and subscribers to understand that what is actually happening is I want to be very clear. I want to be absolutely clear about this. What is happening right now is extremely dangerous. I want my viewers and subscribers to understand that. On our channel, we provide truth, we provide honesty, but what is happening here is very dangerous. There are only two outcomes to this. One, that there was some election interference, in which case there has to be evidence, there has to be proof, and it will be adjudicated in a court of law. And if that happens, as is every right, then, that will be reported and we'll find out as citizens. But if there's nothing to it, and this is just a public relations exercise in order to be able to cast doubts on the integrity of the election, in order to be able to maintain President Trump's influence, in order to be able to have President Trump's supporters, guys like Mike Pompeo, saying these unbelievable things, then that is very dangerous for the future security of our country. That will hamper the security infrastructure that President-elect Joe Biden will try to implement. That will also impact stimulus, because that will impact the level of cooperation that President-elect Joe Biden can get. Once he's sworn in, remember, he's going to be the president. So I understand that, there are strong feelings about this. And, let me be clear about the numbers. In fact, I'm looking at the popular vote numbers. 71,495,756 of our fellow Americans voted for President Trump. Now, 76,408,662 individuals voted for President-elect Biden. So this is a substantial number of people on both sides, but there's several million more people who voted for President-elect Biden. The point I'm trying to make is, if you're a supporter of President Trump, and if you're that part of President Trump's supporters who are essentially believing this stuff, ask yourself, where's the proof? Where's the evidence? What's interesting is Mike Pompeo didn't even provide the actual evidence. Let's wait till there's proof. Let's wait till there's evidence. That's the way our system is. But for the part of President Trump's support system, support base, if you will, who are essentially questioning the legitimacy of the election, I want you to understand that this has national security implications for us. I want you to understand that, because if there is a weakness in the integration of the security officials within the White House and within the government, because of a lack of cooperation from one side to the other side, because of election interference that may or may not exist. I say that because it doesn't matter what you believe, it doesn't matter what I believe. What matters is what can be proven. In our country, an individual's innocent until proven guilty. So I am going to take the position to not question the election until there is proof that the election needs to be questioned, and then the adjudication of that proof needs to be done by a court of law. If someone accuses someone of something, you don't just say, all right, you've been accused, therefore you're guilty. That's not the way our system works. So the approach I'm going to take is that if it's proven, it will be reported. But if it's not proven, until then, it's very real. The threat to our security is real. The threat to the cooperation of the next president-elect gets is very real. And this is very dangerous for our country. Fortunately, President-elect Biden has indeed tried to keep people calm, is trying to, project some calm and some rationale, because this rhetoric from Kayleigh McEnany, I thought what Kayleigh McEnany said, I just want to be clear with our viewers and subscribers. Kayleigh McEnany said something that even the Fox News host thought was out of line. And Mike Pompeo also said something that I believe was out of line.
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration.
Now, is President Trump entitled to say what he wants, seek legal recourse? Of course he is. And that's what he's doing, and I've reported that. But this is starting to get into a territory that will have potentially dangerous security implications for our country. And I do want our viewers and I do want our subscribers to be aware about that. Now, before I get into President-elect Joe Biden's response, let me show you one more time what Kayleigh McEnany said about the other side welcoming fraud and welcoming illegal votes I'm paraphrasing. I want you to watch that for yourself and watch how Fox News pulled away from her. This is significant because this entire narrative is feeding division. It is feeding anger. It is feeding animosity, which is something that we don't want. We need to not have that in our country. Now, let me be clear. If you're part of the 1% who have made up your mind that there's fraud, I'm not going to be able to do anything to convince you. So, feel free to believe what you want. This is my channel and I'm telling you what is my opinion because I want us to be calm and rational and balanced. And I want to be successful. I want us to all make money. That is what this channel is about. But this climate is going to make us more agitated, more angry, this is something that foreign actors will enjoy. They love the division in our country. And this also creates security vulnerabilities for us, which is ironic that this security vulnerability is coming from Mike Pompeo, who used to work in intelligence. Just mind-blowing, the amount of rhetoric. But first, again, let's take a look at Kayleigh McEnany and what she said and what the incident with Fox News. And after that, I'll show you the segment with President-elect Joe Biden. Let's roll the tape and see what Kayleigh McEnany said.
Don't oppose an audit of the vote because you want an accurate count. You don't oppose our efforts at sunlight and transparency because you have nothing to hide. You take these positions because you are welcoming fraud and you are welcoming illegal voting. Our position is clear. We want to protect the franchise of the American people. We want an honest, accurate, lawful count. We want maximum sunlight. We want maximum transparency. We want every legal vote to be counted, and we want every illegal vote to be...
I just think we have to be very clear. She's charging the other side is welcoming fraud and welcoming illegal voting. Unless she has more details to back that up, I can't in good countenance continue showing you this. I want to make sure that maybe they do have something to back that up.
And now let's take a look at what President-elect Joe Biden said when he was specifically asked about election interference, when he was specifically asked about Mike Pompeo's comments. Let's roll the tape and see what he had to say.
During the campaign, you said you were not naive about how difficult it would be to unite the country. It's now 3 days after you were projected as the president-elect. The president himself says he has won this election. His own administration has not moved forward to give you access to what you need to do to begin the work of your transition. Just a few minutes ago, the Secretary of State, when asked if he would cooperate with a smooth transition, he said there will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration. I wonder if you have a message for the president who may well be watching right now, and how do you expect to be able to work with Republicans when so many have thus far refused to even acknowledge your victory?
Well, first of all, we are already beginning the transition. We're well underway. And the ability for the administration in any way by failure to recognize this our win does not change the dynamic at all in what we're able to do. We've announced yesterday, as you know, the health group that we put together today. We're going to be moving along in a consistent manner, putting together our administration, the White House, and reviewing who we're going to pick for the cabinet positions, and nothing's going to stop that. And so I'm confident that the fact that they're not willing to acknowledge we won at this point is not of much consequence in our planning and what we're able to do between now and January 20th.
You have a response to Secretary Pompeo, and I also wonder, you warned during the campaign that as the walls closed in on the president, he would behave more erratically. Yesterday, he fired his defense secretary on Twitter. Are you worried that he's disabling the government? And what are you saying to the world leaders who are calling you at this point about the situation here?
Well, first of all, I'm letting them know that America's back. We're going to be back in the game. It's not American alone. Number one, I've had the opportunity to speak with now 6 world leaders. And the response has been very fulsome, energetic, and they're all looking forward to being able to, from Great Britain to France, to Germany, to Canada, et cetera, and Ireland. So I feel good about the ability to. I said when we announced that the next president is going to inherit a divided country and a world in disarray. The reception and welcome we've gotten around the world from our allies and our friends has been real. I'm having a number of other calls to return, and so I feel confident that we're going to be able to put America back in the place of respect that it had before.
So that's it, everybody. Interesting comments from President-elect Joe Biden. Now, he did also talk about the cooperation with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, the next stimulus package. He talked about his response to some of Mike Pompeo's comments in a little bit more detail. He also talked about his thoughts about whether President Trump should concede or not, whether he can work together with Republicans, many of whom are not even recognizing the fact that he's president-elect. They're not recognizing the results of the election. And he also talked about President Trump's influence on the Republican Party and whether Republicans were, I quote, intimidated, mildly intimidated by a sitting president. I'll cover all of those things in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. Please make sure you click subscribe. Subscribe to our channel because you'll get a lot of interesting news, real world news from our channel. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. I really appreciate you watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.